welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we'd do some sketching in a very special sketchbook, the ILLO sketchbook. And so I've already started on mine. I just got some stickers on the back, and I thought that we could play around with this paper a little bit and I can show you how it goes. So this is the 8x8 size, a pretty decent size for travel. The sketchbook has a lot of nice features like this elastic stretchy band and the pocket in the back, along with the bookmark ribbon. The pocket in the back is a pretty decent size for putting all your fixins and belongings in it. The paper, I think there are about 58 pages, and the paper is really smooth and very thick, so perfect for like inks and stuff. So I also wanted to show you what happens when you put watercolors on this paper. So here I've got my Winsor Newton travel case and then some water, and then I'm just gonna swatch some watercolors in it to show you why this isn't my top pick for an all-around sketchbook for me, because I like to put everything in it. This paper is just not suited to be mixed media. So when you use watercolors, it ends up being a problem because this paper is so thin. It doesn't have a tooth, so it has no texture. So when you use papers like that, it's kind of like using very thick copy paper, and it pills up. So it won't give you a nice clean color. It won't give you nice clean gradients without having those, like you have like salt, it's like grainy in there. And then it also takes forever to dry with a water-based medium, or a very water heavy medium. I don't know exactly how to say that. So aside from that, I want to start and do a couple of sketches, or do a sketch, and then show you how the sketchbook works with color erase pencils and inks and Copic markers. So if you guys want to get your sketchbooks, and we can draw together. Okay, so here I'm just using my blue color erase pencil just to draw a face, because that's what I'm really comfortable with right now. This paper is so nice for just using graphite or coal erase, or even ballpoint pen, because with it not having a very high texture, with it not being a very high texture surface, it doesn't smudge very much. So my hands are usually kind of moist, I guess, or really I wear a lot of lotion. So when I put rest my hand on my drawing to get fine details down and stuff like that, it doesn't transfer onto my hand, and it doesn't smudge onto the rest of the paper, whether it be coal erase or a graphite pencil. Even when I'm using like a 2B lead or like a 4B lead for darker graphite drawings, it still doesn't really lift for me, and it doesn't do the same doesn't do a lot of smudging for ballpoint either. It dries super fast. So here I'm just laying down a face for a lady. You know I love the pointy ears and the bangs, so I'm going to go to my go-to and put that down. Also, I want to give you a tip on drawing with coal erase, or coloring with coal erase. So I would say, if you can help it, think about your color palette before choosing a coal erase pencil. So if you tend to use more cool colors in your drawings, or more warm colors in your drawings, try to use a coal erase pencil that matches your color scheme. Okay, so when you use Copics with a coal erase pencil, it's gonna bleed. The colors are gonna come together and mesh together. So when you use an opposing coal erase pencil, I don't want to say opposing, but the opposite color scheme. So instead of if you use like a warm color scheme with a cool color erase pencil, your colors, your Copics, are going to come out muddy or muted, not as bright, not as vibrant, not as beautiful as they could be. So Just a heads up. I mean, you don't have to take my advice, but that's just what I do. Okay, so I'm using the Pentel Micro Brush Sign pen in the, I think micro brush is in the fine setting, or the fine style, I guess. So I'm going to lay down some fine lines for this. This is something that I wanted to try. So when I use my dip pen on this sketchbook paper, it took quite a while to dry. Maybe I'm just too heavy-handed, but my Kuretake brush pens and this particular pen, they work really well with the sketchbook. The paper, like, it dries almost instantly, and it doesn't really smudge when you let your hand down either. So I was really happy about that. I am doing a princess. Originally, I kind of wanted her to be a Bowsette, because I've just seen a whole bunch of those pictures around. I don't know why. I guess Bowsette's resurfacing right now. But I saw a whole bunch of those pictures, and then I realized that I used a cool tone Color Erase pencil. Now, it's not going to stop me from doing any of the colors I wanted to, but I know with my limited Copic palette that I should probably not try to power through it with this blue marker underneath. I mean, this blue pencil underneath. So I decided to do something a little more cool tone, like a Boozette. So when you see me pick colors, it'll be accordingly. Okay, so I'm just about done with the liner, and I'm going to go in and erase a little bit to see how this stands up against the paper. And it's doing pretty good. I don't see any issues. Well, okay, I did smudge it up there, but it didn't do too bad. That part smudged, I think, because I had just finished it, but everything else had a little bit of time to set. Oh, I forgot to do the eyebrows, so let me throw those in there real quick. And then so now we can go pick in some colors to color this bad boy in. Alright, so I'm going to start off with doing the eyes and some accents. And this is R24 in Prawn for Copics. And then these two are Pale Blackberry V25 and BB13 in Hydrangea Blue. So I'm going to try those for the hair. Let me swatch them real quick and see how they're gonna do. Whoa, whoa. Okay, so this one's dead. I think I'm gonna try to find something else. Yeah, it's super duper dead. Okay, so I'm gonna use the darker color, that's pale blackberry, as a low light color, and I'm gonna go look and try to find another blue for this out of my stash. And I'm not really liking that. What about this? That's okay. So we're gonna do powder blue. Come on, focus. Powder blue. B41 and powder blue. And my markers are kind of streaky on this paper. I feel as though that's less ILLO's fault in the paper and more my fault for not. I feel like that's less ILLO's fault and more my fault for not refilling my Copics the way I should. So it's making all the squeaky noises and stuff. But I'm not at it. It's still covering smoothly. Oh, the thing I did realize about this paper is that it tends to dry a different way than it lays down first, which is, it's a good thing partially. I feel as though these colors dry a little bit different than they originally were laid down. Just sort of based on how the paper is. It has time to set in and gloss over a little bit. I think you have to watch out for how the colors set up on this particular paper, because you'll see later on when I was doing this that when you set down a color and then lay down a shadow before it's dried the way that it's going to, you'll think that it doesn't look as good as it does beforehand. So you just, that's also a little bit of a Copic thing rather than just this paper thing. So a lot of it's the medium that has something to do with it. But I went in here and I tried to use a pink to soften the I went in here and tried to use a pink to soften the shadow a little bit, and it just did not look as great. So I tried to blend it and make it look similar, the two spots similar to each other, because the powder blue and the pale blackberry looked pretty good together. So let me go back and change that to try to mask it to make it seem the same way. And squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. But I really need to refill my markers. How pretty nice. I think that the colors work pretty well together after they start to set up. It is sort of high contrast, but I do enjoy that a little bit. So this is C5 and cool gray. Yeah, cool gray number 5 for Copics. And I'm just going to add some highlights. Some lowlights to her face, some shadow regions, and shade in her lips, maybe under her chin a little bit. And then probably add some ghost blush on there too. Remember, if you're confused as to what I'm doing, I'm confused too. I never know how any of this stuff is going to turn out until I'm actually done. If you guys enjoyed this video while you're here, you can go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe. And if you really don't want to miss another video, you can go ahead and click that little bell notification so you can see my hands make more art in the future. And so if you guys got questions, I'll try to answer them down below. But I'm really not sure exactly what it is. I just wing it and then hope for the best. I think that's probably what everybody does. And so I'm going to go in and add some blush on this and color in her tongue and the inside of her mouth and a few other things. So I'm really trying to layer up these colors so that you can see when see how this paper reacts to um, the ink. So this paper is, in my opinion, much more suited for people who use more manga style mediums or manga style supplies like Kuretake brush pens and Pentel pocket pens, and pen and ink style stuff, and markers. It's not quite to the same caliber as an ILLO sketchbook. I'm sorry. It's not quite to the same caliber as a render sketchbook where it's not going to bleed through and you can use all the inks to your heart's content. But it is pretty close in the way that it does handle ink pretty well, just not more water-centered mediums like watercolor, gouache. You could try to use acrylic in the sketchbook if you really wanted to, but I think that something like specifically for mixed media, specifically for acrylic is better. And now I'm done with the drawing, so I'm gonna let you look on the back of the paper and see how it ghosted. Get it? Cause who's up to ghost? Anyway, but yeah, no, I'm done with the picture, and I'm gonna give you a close up on it so you can see better what it looks like. And then I just want to thank you guys for watching this video, and I appreciate you watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.